Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video tutorial about Python. Today I'll discuss how to use for loops in Python. For loops have been traditionally used when you have some blocks of code that you want to repeat a fixed number of times. And by doing that, the for statement iterates in an orderly fashion over each member of a sequence while executing that block of code each time or per iteration. Enough said, let's see that in practice. Let's define a sequence. Let's use a list initially, and let's see how for statement works. Let's define a list of strings. Let's say animals equals cat, dog, hamster, and snake, let's say. Right, suppose now we want to print all the elements of this list. Now we could try printing each element at a time, but that would be time consuming and not the right way to do it. We can do that in a programmatic way by using a for loop. So we can do it like this. For animal, in animals, right? And this is where the for, basically the for statement starts, and inside of it we can declare a block of code. Right, so for each iteration through the list, animal will equal, animal is just a placeholder in this case. It can be any variable name or letter name, and wherever. It can be anything that you choose. So for each iteration through the list, animal will equal each of the cat, dog, hamster elements of the list. Then you have the in keyword, and this specifies that we are iterating the sequence following this keyword. And last, we have the sequence, in this case is animal, through which we want to iterate, namely the animals list, right, defined right here. So in other words, for each animal or item in animals, execute something. So let's say we want to print each member item, and for that we'll just use the print function inside the for statement like this. Print animal, like this. Right, so let's run this. And as you can see, it on each row, it prints all the elements of the animal sequence at a time. So essentially, we've looped through the list, we picked up each element, and we've printed out its value here. Of course, you can do whatever you please with each element, but for our purpose here, I've just printed that element out. Let's say we want to print the length of each string in the list, and if you remember from the previous tutorials, that's the number of characters each of the strings defined here in the animal list contain. And for that, we can simply make use of the Python len function, and we can use it like this. Print between parentheses len of animal. Okay, let's run it. And as you can see, it defines the length of each string. Cat has 3 letters, dog has 3 letters, hamster 7, and snake 5 letters. Now we could also iterate through a string. Let's say we have a string, let me just delete this, animal equals line. So we have a string object animal, and inside of it contains the string line. And let's say we want to iterate through the animal string. So let's say for I in this case being just a placeholder in animal, right? And now let me just print I. And now you should print out each letter of the string line. And as you can see, it does. Right, that's pretty cool. Let me just mention 2 other Python functions that are frequently used with for loops for iterating over elements. One of them is range, and the other one is enumerate. In a nutshell, the range function just creates a list using the value specified as argument between parentheses. So for example, if let me just delete this, if I would do something like for I in range of 5, if I just print I here, the range 5 basically will create a list of numbers starting from 0, but not including 2, but not including 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we test this, it should print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 as an output. Let's try it out, and as you can see, it does. That's very cool. Now if we don't want the range to start from 0, you could insert a starting point, and let's say we have the starting point as 5, comma 10. So it will create a list with elements from 5 to 9. And as you can see, it does. That's very cool. While I'm here, let me just share with you something that not even the most experienced Python developers are mostly aware about. Like in the case of if statements, the fourth statement has an else clause. And let's see it. We can use it like this, else print we have reached the end of the loop. Of course, the else statement can be used for much more complex operations than this one, but this very simple example proves the usefulness of the else statement. So basically, it will print, it will iterate through the list, and it will complete normally, and the else at the end will run by default. And as you can see, it does. It will basically print all the values comprised in this range, and at the end the else block will run and it will print out this message, and it does. So that's enough of range. Now you could also use the enumerate function to iterate through lists. In addition to the range function, the enumerate function adds a counter to the iterable. So if we recreate the animals list we had previously, so animals equals cat, dog, hamster, and let's say, well, yeah, I have snake. If I just use the enumerate here, I can simply define the index, right, and then comma the element in enumerate of animals, like this. So what can we do with these two? We can say print index is %x as a placeholder for strings index, and in the first row. In the second row we can simply print out the element to which this index associates to, is %s, let's say index. And basically the enumerate function allows us to use both the element and its counter in the same block. And if we run this, yes, because I didn't define it as an index, and here it's not index, it's element. And as you can see, index is 0. When the index is 0, the element is cat. When index is 1, the element is dog. Index is 3, the element is hamster. 2 element is hamster, and 3 element is snake. That's pretty cool. That's enough for today, guys. To sum everything up, for loops are traditionally used when you have a block of code which you want to repeat a fixed number of times, and the Python for statement iterates over the members of a sequence in order, executing that block each time. Now you could also make use of the range function to create a list of elements with a starting and a stopping point, and use that in the for loop. And you could also make use of the enumerate function to get both the index and the element from your sequence. That's enough for today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.